Hello everybody, this is Robbie from Audiofier, and in this video we are going to explore SEQui2R more deeply. So when you first load SEQui2R, you will be presented with this interface, and SEQui2R will have already loaded the first snapshot, which is called init, which means initialized. So nothing is going to sound at this point, so don't get worried. If I press any key, nothing is happening. That's because no sound has been loaded yet. And the first thing we could do is just to go through the snapshots and load one. If you don't know how to do that, check Kontakt's manual. Anyway, I'm going to go here where it says init on the little arrow, and I will see a few categories of sounds. Electronic, guitar, organic, and rhythms. So let's just load a snapshot that we haven't heard yet in any other video. This. At this point, we should hear a sound. And we do. So that's a good thing already. So this patch has two sound sources. Group A, you have synth belled, and Group B, you have synth overdriven. On this side of the UI, you have the 8 phrases. They can be triggered by pressing on the button and then recall, or they can be triggered here with these key switches, the green keys, from C-1 to G-1. And of course, you can trigger them with your keyboard, as I'm doing now. And you'll see that the buttons here are changing their states. Okay, at this point, then you can just play one phrase at a time. Or you can swap phrases, just changing from one to another. So far, I just played one note at a time, but I could also play more notes at the same time, like chords. Or I could also play in different points of the bar, like this. And of course, when you combine different notes, different phrases at the same time, different points of the bar, it becomes a big sound. Even though this patch is made of 2 sound sources, we can change the sound sources. Just take any other sound from any categories we want. And only the sounds have changed, not the phrase. So all the phrases will be exactly the same. And I can change again just to have a look at different sounds. And that's a cool thing. Another thing we can do is use 2 different functions for playback. One is called optional start, and the other one is called legato. Let's take a look at optional start first. If I go down here, I see these key switches here, the purple one. I see G sharp and A-1, both of them. They activate the optional start function. When this is on, SEQui2R will start the phrase from the note that is indicated here. This is note number 1, and this is note number 16. Let's leave it at 9 because it's just right in the middle of the bar. Let's start with this function off, and let's just play a note. Okay, this one. Let's take this phrase because it's got a nice scale over here, so we can really hear the difference between the first part and the second part of the bar. I'm gonna play the note. Activate. You see the SEQui2R is repeating just a part of the phrase, starting from note number 9. If I press G sharp -1, it starts again from the first note. So I can play around. And so on. The other playback mode I'd like to show you is called legato mode. and it's activated with B -1 and deactivated with B flat -1. The legato mode basically allows you to change note in the middle of a phrase when the loop is still going, and the phrase will not be affected. In other words, it will not trigger back from the first note of the phrase, but it will continue flowing from first note till the last one, no matter how many times you change the notes in between. And the phrase will adjust according to whatever note you're playing. So let's have a listen. B -1. See, the sequitur is just going no matter what, and you adjust to the note I'm playing. Off. You see that every time a note is triggered, it starts from the start. But if I play legato, it just goes flowing from one note to the next, keeping the shape of the phrase. Okay, I should say one thing though regarding the legato mode. It needs some kind of precision to transition from one note to the next to keep the flow of the phrase. What we've done, for example, in Logic, both note on and note off are quantized. And you see how the phrase is flowing without ever stopping, always starting from one and getting to the end. But the notes are changing in the middle of the bar. And also you can see there are some polyphonic notes here. So, let's go back to the initial state of sequitur. Another thing we could do is to create a patch from scratch. So I wouldn't need to switch on one or both groups. So let's start with the first one. This is the switch that purges the sound, so the memory will be cleaned up. So you can see it's 3.68 megabytes. If I do this, it goes back to 0. Because that, it goes back to 3.68. So the first sound we see is the first one of the synth bass category. Very dry, no reverb, nothing. The sequencer is off. So we switch it on. We start hearing something. The tempo behavior is set to host, so it's going to be going in sync with your DAW. But I could also put it to half, quarter, or double. Here I have my chorus, phaser, delay, reverb. Click on the knob and I will see the values of delay. If I want to change the way the panning works for the delay, I just have to go to the option page and here where it says delay pan, put it at max. Now it's going to bounce from left to right. Here I have my reverb. Just by clicking once, it shows me the state of the reverb. Now it's in bypass. I have the choice of 6 convolutions and 1 digital reverb. The digital reverb is the one that comes with Kontakt. I could add a second sound source. Now it's on the pulses category. I can just change to synth and just take one randomly. Yeah. If I want to hear it on its own, I just press solo. I want to make it more staccato, so I just make it very short with the envelopes. Bit of resonance. And then delay, just. And then put back again the first sound source. And maybe to make a fuller sound, I can just pitch this up. Reverb on this. Since I was playing in C minor, I'm gonna use the key scale control. Switch it on, select what scale I want to play in, which is gonna be C minor. Okay, now this sequence, just doing one note at a time. So, but if I was playing a note that is not in C minor scale, like, I don't know, F sharp. The F sharp plays like a G because SEQui2R is correcting it. Another thing we can do is record a phrase. So to do that, I'm going to delete the first phrase that we were just listening to. So we press record. Now the phrase is wiped out. I can choose the note value that I'm going to use for my phrase. I can do that with these key switches here. And you see the values changing here. And when we want to insert a rest, we have to use C0. I'm going to select 16th notes. Then a few 32 notes. Then 16 again. Save. And then my phrase is like this. Now I can play it in every octave. And since it's a phrase, it's not just one note repeating like a pulse. If I was to play any other key than C, which is my starting note, it would normally play out of key. But with SEQui2R, it stays in tune. So I can do arpeggios, I can do phrases, I can do riffs, I can do bass lines, and they're all gonna be in the scale that I decided. Now let's listen to a patch which is called Xiao Tan. I should apologize to my Chinese friends for this terrible accent. As you can see, the key scale control in this patch is set to user. This means that I edited the keyboard tool here and created a pentatonic scale. That's why this patch had this Oriental Chinese kind of sound. To do so, you just need to select which notes you want in and which ones you want out, like so. Let's try something random here. And this Chinese patch could become all of a sudden Arabian. Another thing we could do, and we also saw it in a few other videos, is changing maybe the velocity, because maybe these notes were a little bit loud. I want just to be more gentle, and then press save. If we were to record the second phrase, I would choose the second button here, then press rec, and I can do another phrase. Press save. I don't know why I'm stuck with those two chords. So I can now move from one phrase to another. Okay, at this point I can play around with filters. So select Group A, select Cutoff here, and it shows me in very bright green the cutoff values. At the moment, cutoff is switched off, but now it's on, and I can do a shape. Bear in mind that if I don't save, it goes back to bypass state, and also the shape will not be remembered. So I can edit the shape by pressing this button here, do my shape, switching on, and then save, and that will be saved. But I could also do it while I'm listening to it. I just need to keep the key pressed. Now I can draw the shape. Note that this filter is just affecting Group A, so save. If I wanted to apply the same shape filter to Group B as well, I just can press this little button here, and it's gonna be copied. Save. If I check Group B cutoff, it's got the same shape as Group A cutoff. And this is saved just for phrase A. If I recall phrase B, it doesn't have any filtering going on. So some phrases can have effects and other phrases might not. Now we recorded different samples for each velocity. I can make this sound a little bit more sensitive to velocity. So okay, now let's add a little bit of delay. As soon as I click once on the delay, these controls appear. This is the feedback, and I'm gonna choose this. Okay, I'm gonna do the same for the other sound source. Okay, I can keep on playing this one, select a different phrase and save on it. So now, this phrase and that phrase are the same. What I can do now, I can edit the second phrase and just change a few notes. I can do it different ways. The first thing I could do is just to change maybe the last note. Okay, I changed it, press save straight away, otherwise it's not gonna stay. Okay, this one a little bit down. Okay, let's save this one on the following one. So now these two are the same. But now I'm gonna do something different for that. I'm gonna use the position there. So now I'm gonna edit notes just from this point onwards. And I'm gonna edit by recording and select 32 just to make it a little bit more. Okay, let's use this other preset just to see another way of editing the notes. Let's see this one. Okay, let's select Group A again. Let's select Cutoff. Everything is at the moment at the maximum. I can press the free edit button. At this point, any edit I'm gonna do, it's gonna stay until I press save. But I can change the notes while I'm doing it. So let's switch on the cutoff. Then I can stop, can play another note and check until I like it. Let's, I don't know, add some talk as well. Switch it on. So cutoff is still going. Talk is still going. Why not? I can also edit a little bit of the velocity this way, or by pressing again our friend here and do like a brush stroke. Maybe I can go again in group A, change the pan. So now it's floating left to right. And I press save, and everything is stored now at this point. Let's close the helper. All my parameters are stored. Another thing I can do is to use the utility menu to create shapes for my step effects. So let's choose cutoff again. Let's go to browser. I have available 10 different patterns. I'm going to choose this one. Cutoff is still selected. When I press save, the filter shape will be the one that I chosen. So when I play now, also another way of editing our shapes is to copy a shape from one parameter to another. For example, here I have a cutoff shape. I go to my utility menu, press copy, then select pan, select paste, save, and now the shape of cutoff has been copied and pasted to the pan values. Another thing we can do is edit all these values at the same time and put them all at the same value. To do that, we just need to press Alt on the very first slider and then move the sliders. They will all move of the same quantity. This can be done on this type of sliders, but also on the helper table. Always starting from the first one, because in the middle it will not work. Since we know how to record a phrase and we know also how to edit it now, there might be situations in which we like the way a filter is moving in a phrase, but we want to change a few notes. So let's say we have a phrase like this one. If I press free button and then record, I can change all my notes. And the shape of the filter cutoff is going to be the same. Another thing to note is I have an envelope here and filter, low pass filter. I can put the resonance a little bit up. Without using the step filter, which is here, I can use my modulation wheel and do it manually. So it can just vary it anytime I want. And this is going to work for both A and B because it's set here in the options, modulation filter, CC control 111. But I could do something a little bit different. I could just tell the filter B to behave invertly. So to do the opposite, when one is open, the other one will be closed. So now I've just bass 30. And now it goes and transitions to the pulse. Of course, I can just go there and, okay, we have to put the position from 1 again, otherwise it's going to edit just from 14. So I can record anything else. And if I want to just do a ramp at the end, I can just go there and record, and I'm going to record in 30 seconds. So there, done. Okay, I could just edit the band. So click on band, you see that here it says pitch band, and I can play a note. I could do in two ways, position, and then apply some values. Position again, some values. And then position again, and some values, and save. There is this light band there. You can see it also here, but I can also edit it. Okay, actually I couldn't like. Well, I don't like that, so I alt-click on band, save, everything gets flattened again. Okay, let's go back on the first phrase. Let's edit the choke values. Choke. And this is cool. So I can now add a little bit of delay. And it's done. So now I can play around with all the phrases I create. Let's explore the last two items in the utility menu. We have import and export over here. So to illustrate how they work, let's just call a patch guitar on film. And let's say that I really love the patterns the way they are. I want to save them for later, so I can export them. Call it like nice guitar pattern. Save it. And then maybe the following day, I'm working on this sound. Now suddenly remember, oh, I wish I could have exactly the same pattern I had yesterday. Wait a second, I actually exported it. So the tempo behavior on this patch is to host, while if you remember, the one on the guitar on film was on half. So let's just set this the way it's in the other patch. Go to utility menu, import, and then we'll find the pattern that we saved yesterday. Open, and then all of a sudden, all the patterns that were in the previous patch that we exported are now in this patch. Another thing we can notice that, let's, for example, take a patch which has a lot of filtering going on. There it goes. Let's export this one. Save. And then let's go back to, I don't know, guitar on film, which has a totally different feel. Remember, that's the sound. At this point, we are going to import the filter max. Open it, and then not only the pattern, but all the step effects have been imported. Cut off and everything else. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.